Welcome to Extension Ed Talks. I'm Melinda Daily from the Sunflower Extension District, including Cheyenne, Sherman County, and Wallace County.
And I'm Jessica Kootz, Family and Consumer Sciences Agent from the Midway District, Russell and Ellsworth counties.
And I'm Anna Muir with the Phillips Brooks Extension District, also a Family and Consumer Sciences Agent.
So before we get started, what is an e-cigarette? E-cigarettes are electronic devices that heat a liquid and produce an aerosol or small particles in the air. We would like to discuss the vaping epidemic in our schools, communities, state, and nation. I just looked up on CDC yesterday, and it is now, as of October 24th, 2019, there have been 34 deaths in 24 states. 2 of those are in Kansas. I asked a student in my community if he thought there was a problem with it in his school. And he said that he thought 40% used e-cigarettes. There are reports in Northwest Kansas of a 3rd grader student who with a device and the principal had taken it away. This is a major epidemic and our youth are going to pay the consequences. The problem, 95% of current smokers started before the age of 21. Having the first cigarette by age 18 makes it twice as likely to become lifelong smoker. E-cigarette rates have increased by 77% from 2017 to 2018. Using e-cigarettes increases the likelihood of smoking the following year. In 2018, 1 in 3 high school students are using tobacco in the past month. Another problem is vapor products are the most commonly used tobacco product among teens. A reported 77% increase of e-cigarettes among youth in the last 12 months. Teens are more likely than adults to use e-cigarettes. They have asked several grades and found out how much they are using. In the 12th grade, they actually found out that ever used was 50% in 12th grade, and current was 14. That means they currently use 14%. So it's rather high. Now this next slide is requirements for retailers, and I think this is pretty interesting. If you're looking at that, the minimum age on the top line, the minimum legal sales of 18 and age verification under 27. As you see in that top line, those are all marked. That means that all of those are supposed to be checked to see if they're of age. As you can see by the other ones, there's several that are not marked, which means there's no requirements. And I visited with a retailer just last night, and I wanted to find out what the ramifications are for selling to a minor. The first offense is $500 for the retailer plus $500 for the person that sold that item. This increases after the second time they get caught. The third time it increases even higher, and then after the third time they are no longer have a license to be selling in their facility. Nicotine addiction and youth. Brain development continues until the mid-20s. It will affect the kids with decision making, impulse control, sensation seeking, peer pressure. Adolescents' brains are uniquely vulnerable, affecting the youth's brain stronger and more rapidly, even than adults. This makes it harder for the youth to quit. What is nicotine? Nicotine is a drug. Stimulant raises the level of physical and psychological activity in the body, and it's toxic and high dose. High addictive since it causes changes in brain chemistry quickly and leaves the brain craving more. Using nicotine in adolescence can harm the parts of the brain that control attention, learning, mood, and impulse control. The reaction, here is a picture of a brain, nicotine in the brain. The reaction that nicotine has in the brain results in the stimulation of pleasure centers in your brain. When inhaled, nicotine enters the brain after passing through the lungs. Then it binds to pleasure receptors in the brain. That causes a release of pleasure chemicals such as dopamine, providing the user with a temporary feeling of pleasure. This might not sound dangerous, but in reality, the nicotine interferes with the body's natural ability to experience and communicate pleasure. Nicotine creates floods of dopamine and intense feelings. The pleasure centers in the brain adapts to the drug use by sensing the extra dopamine and then begins to produce less in your body. This means that the user has a hard time creating natural feelings of pleasure without the nicotine. The user needs the nicotine to feel normal, found to be as addictive as heroin and cocaine. Our biggest concern is with pod-based systems among young people is that deliver at the very least the same amount of nicotine found in almost 2 packs of cigarettes. All salt-based e-juice liquid contains nicotine, all of them. As we look at this picture, you can see that the salt-based on the left is the Juul, and on the right side is the free-base nicotine, which they are different. And you can see by the next one under the salt-based, it has 41.3 milligrams of nicotine in it. And in the right, in the free-base, if it is concentrated free-base nicotine, and it would be equal to 25 milligrams of nicotine. And then the last line on the left, pods are not made to be refilled. I think sometimes they are, and that's when the dangers come in. So they are not made to be refilled. On the right, the free-base ones are. You can refill those. Cigarettes in a pod. This is really interesting. The slideshow there, the picture, it shows your 1 pack of cigarettes on the left is equal to 20 milligrams of nicotine, which equals 20 cigarettes. The second one is your Juul pod, and it is equivalent to 41.3 milligrams of nicotine, which is equal to 41 cigarettes. The fix pod is 75 milligrams, which would be equal to 75 cigarettes, and the Surin pod is 90 milligrams. So you can see how much higher it gets than it is in cigarettes. So how many packs would that be for the Juul? It would be 2 packs of cigarettes. Kids don't think that they're really smoking. They don't think that they're getting that much nicotine. They just think they're juuling, and which they are. They have a lot of nicotine. As mentioned before, this is a high amount of nicotine and can be intense for first-time users. Our concern is that young people are being introduced to a high amount of nicotine, developing a tolerance quickly, and becoming addicted as a result.
What a girl wants in her home kitchen. Ease of use, flexibility, fun, the latest kitchen design, Frigidaire Professional Real Stainless Steel for fewer finger smudges, a French door refrigerator, convection cooking, and quiet dishwasher. Have the staff at Genuine Appliance in Hayes demonstrate new Frigidaire gallery appliances to find what you want. Genuine Appliance at 1224 East 27th Street in Hayes. Everything a girl wants.
Kansas weather can be brutal on your home's exterior. A dry and watertight roof performance is a result of choosing the right contractor. At AquaShield Roofing and Construction, we use the most up-to-date products and efficient technology. We offer quality services, professional installation, and unmatched warranties, adding value to your home and providing years of trouble-free protection. Call AquaShield Roofing and Construction for a free estimate today.
Welcome back. Today we're talking about the dangers of e-cigarette use and vaping. Now, e-cigarettes have been on the market since 2007. The first variation was a Cig-a-Lite, and they're just like they sound, looking like an e-cigarette, like this. Most delivered nicotine, and these were disposable. So something new that's come onto the market in the last year is apparel that can hold your e-cigarette. Like you can see here, it fits nicely into this. You can hide it in the little pocket on the hoodie and vape during class, walking into the supermarket, or whatever.
And Jessica, just to go along with this, you can actually pull the other side out, and there's an opening here, so it can look like you're chewing on one side, and it's actually, you're just taking a hit off of that e-cigarette that you have in your other pocket. And normally teachers don't realize that that's even going on in their classrooms.
That's right, Anna.
So I have a vape pen here, and it is has a battery that goes with it, and it reaches higher temperatures, and it is refillable. So you can just buy the different cartridges that go along with it. The amount of product that's in there depends on how many times you take a hit off of each of your devices. So there's some that you might go through a pod or two in a day, and that's equivalent to 2 packs of cigarettes. The next item I have is actually the liquid that goes with the mods, which is the large modifiable e-cigarette, and it allows for more aerosol, nicotine, and other chemicals to be breathed in, and that's going into your lungs at a faster rate. So these are just some items that are out there available to youth or adults, and we hope that our youth are not taking part in that, but it is happening.
And the last one we'll talk about is the pod-based. And they look like a USB drive. I have one, an old USB drive right here. It just looks like that. And here is the Juul, which looks just almost exactly like this. This is put into a computer. As you can see, there's a place to put your USB into the computer to charge it, and then they just take a hit. Here is the Juul pod that goes in it. I don't know if you can see, but that fits right into the top of this, and then they can just take a puff during class. And the thing about the Juul is they take a little puff and you can't even notice, especially with the fruity flavors that we will talk about later. The other one that it looks just like the Juul is the Vuse, and it looks just like it. It has the same frame and everything as the Juul.
The team at Homestead Assisted Living is a proud supporter of the Hayes community. Located just west of the Sternberg Natural History Museum, Homestead is a warm and welcoming community where residents receive compassionate care from licensed professionals. If you're curious about senior living options for yourself or a loved one, make Homestead your first call. Our kind and courteous staff would love to show you around and answer any questions you may have. Call us today to schedule a tour of Homestead or visit us online at homesteadofhayes.com.
Storage Solutions is now offering premier portable buildings built locally in Greensburg and made to withstand the Kansas weather. These unique buildings can be more than just a storage shed and are as large as 16 by 40 feet. Their 30-year warranty offers flooring and walls that won't rot, splinter, or crack and are finished with a urethane paint. Multiple purchasing options are available. Visit Storage Solutions of Hayes to view models or go online to customize your building today.
Gas is a substance with infinite expansion. When you let a gas out of a bottle, it will usually keep spreading out until it's completely mixed with the air. Vapor. It can mean the same as gas, but it may also be used to describe a visible exhalation such as steam or fog. Vapor isn't as precise a term as gas or aerosol. Aerosol is a mixture of liquid particles suspended in a gas. Instead of just mixing with the air like a pure gas, aerosol can leave drops behind. Lots of people think of hairspray when they think of an aerosol. It leaves those particles of chemical in your hair to keep it staying the way you want it to. Do you think e-cigarettes create gas, vapor, or aerosol? The answer is aerosol. The aerosol created enters the lungs and also is exhaled into the air. E-cigarettes and vape pens allow the user to make large clouds that many think are just water vapor. In reality, the cloud is a mixture of many different chemicals that were either present in the e-liquid before or present during the heating process. What's in an e-cig aerosol? Well, here's a pretty lengthy list, and a good chunk of this list are from the 2012 FDA Harmful and Potentially Harmful Constituents in Tobacco Products and Tobacco Smoke Established List. Now, this list is from 2012, and it hasn't been updated since then because those chemicals have been in tobacco products and tobacco smoke for a long time. They're not introducing new chemicals into these products. Some of those chemicals can be found in things we see every day. Propylene glycol is found in antifreeze. Acetone is a nail polish remover. Ethyl benzene is found in insecticides. And of course, when we think of formaldehyde, we think of embalming. Nicotine, of course, is in cigarettes. And rubidium is what makes fireworks purple. A hookah is a water pipe used to smoke tobacco. The heated tobacco passes through the water bowl, and the smoke is inhaled through a mouthpiece. Hookahs are perceived to be safer than cigarettes, but most have the same negative health effects as cigarettes. 1 hour of hookah smoking is the equivalent of smoking 100 cigarettes. Many hookah smokers are also at risk for getting colds, the flu, and other illnesses because they share mouthpieces. Nicotine doesn't just have an effect on your brain, since there are acetylcholine receptors all over your body. For example, using nicotine can make your heart beat faster because it activates the flight or fight response. Outside of the chemicals and toxins already in cigarettes, nicotine can independently cause trouble breathing and damage to the lungs. Nicotine can also cause increased acid reflux. And last but not least, nicotine can even negatively affect the reproductive organs. Tobacco smoking can lead to lung cancer, chronic bronchitis, and emphysema. It increases the risk of heart disease, which can lead to stroke and heart attack. Smoking has also been linked to other cancers, leukemia, cataracts, and pneumonia. All of these risks apply to use of any smoked product, including hookah tobacco. Smokeless tobacco increases the risk of cancer, especially mouth cancers. Smoking also increases risk for tuberculosis, certain eye diseases, and problems of the immune system, including rheumatoid arthritis. The nicotine in any tobacco product readily absorbs into the blood when a person uses it. Upon entering the blood, nicotine immediately stimulates the adrenal glands to release the hormone epinephrine, or adrenaline. Epinephrine stimulates the central nervous system and increases blood pressure, breathing, and heart rate. As with drugs such as cocaine and heroin, nicotine activates the brain's reward circuits and also increases levels of the chemical messenger dopamine, which reinforces rewarding behaviors. Studies suggest that other chemicals in tobacco smoke may enhance nicotine's effects on the brain. Although nicotine is addictive, most of the severe health effects of tobacco often comes from other chemicals. Using nicotine in adolescence can harm the parts of the brain that control attention, learning, mood, and impulse control. Each time a new memory is created or a new skill is learned, stronger connections, or synapses, are built between brain cells. Young people's brains build synapses faster than adult brains. Nicotine changes the way these synapses are formed, interfering with the brain's sensitive pleasure and rewards feedback loop. Because of this, nicotine in adolescence may also increase risk for future addiction to other drugs. E-cigarette use has been shown to increase the risk of using combustible tobacco cigarettes among youth and young adults. Young adults who use e-cigarettes are more than 4 times as likely to begin smoking cigarettes within 18 months compared to their peers who do not vape. Nicotine and e-cigarettes. The percentage of products that contained nicotine were about 100% sold. 99.6% of disposable e-cigarette sales contained nicotine. 100% of rechargeable sales contained nicotine, and 99.5% of refill sales contained nicotine. The percentage that contain nicotine by product type are about the same percentage, all just barely under 100%. That includes all e-cigarette products, flavored e-cigarette products, and even the non-e-cigarette products. All contained nicotine. 63% of Juul users don't know that the product always contains nicotine.
At Rogers & Associates Insurance, we serve the Midwest. We offer home, auto, commercial, and farm insurance policies and provide solid options for life and health insurance. For those unexpected life events like hail, wind, deer crashes, fender benders, and the little things in between, we can help you ensure what matters most in your life. Let us help you design a plan that meets your needs and budget. Visit us online or call us at 1-800-569-0118 to learn more.
A step towards better health. At High Plains Podiatry, the team's greatest joy is seeing you doing what you love to do. Dr. Rob Hens addresses all problems of the foot and ankle with leading-edge capabilities. They travel extensively, serving in satellite clinics near you. Their growth in southwest Nebraska is a direct result of the caring and personal treatment they give their patients. Let High Plains Podiatry bring the pep back in your step. Now seeing patients in Norton and Colby, Kansas. Call today, 877-345-3668.
Welcome back. Today we're talking about the dangers of e-cigarette use and vaping. So in a pod like this is from a Juul. The juice in here is called e-juice. And there can be different flavors. Like this one in particular is tobacco flavored, and you can tell because of the different color at the bottom. E-cigarettes come in lots of different flavors, and they've even packaged them, as you can see in this slide, so they look like everyday items. Sriracha sauce, ice cream bites, even whipped cream in juice boxes. Now these look like they would be a bottle of sriracha sauce, but they're actually an e-juice that contains nicotine. Most flavored cigarettes have been banned since 2009, since extensive research shows that they are more appealing to young people. The e-cigarette industry, though, has yet to be regulated in this way. There are fruity and sweet flavor pods that appeal to many people, and fun names like Banana Butt and Honey Doo Doo. If you aren't yet convinced that the industry is aware of this tactic, then let's talk about their most recent effort to protect their flavored products. The city of San Francisco just passed an ordinance to ban flavored tobacco products. The industry was determined to prevent this from happening. R.J. Reynolds, the second largest tobacco company in the United States, spent $12 million to overturn the campaign. Why do you think they spent the money to become so involved in a single city's ballot measure?
Between 2011 and 15, there was a 900% spike in youth e-cigarette use, which made e-cigarettes the most frequently used tobacco product among youth. The popularity of e-cigarettes and Juul are helping to normalize tobacco use among the new generation. Left unchecked, we risk setting millions of kids on a path of nicotine addiction. As we'll see in this presentation, these products are far from harmless. Leaving aside the ongoing debate about adult use of e-cigarettes, all health experts agree that e-cigarettes should not be used by youth. Even those in the e-cigarette industry agree on this point. Now let's learn more about these products and how we can help prevent kids from falling into the latest nicotine addiction trap. E-cigarettes are popular with young people. Their use has grown dramatically in the last 5 years. Today, more high school students use e-cigarettes than regular cigarettes. The use of e-cigarettes is higher among high school students than adults. E-cigarettes entered the U.S. marketplace around 2007, and since 2014, they have been the most commonly used tobacco product among U.S. youth. E-cigarette use among U.S. middle school and high school students increased 900% during 2011 to 2015, before declining for the first time during 2015 through 2017. However, current e-cigarette use increased 78% among high school students during the past year, from 11.7% in 2017 to 20.8% in 2018. As Melinda said earlier, We're also seeing an increase and a rise in our grade school students as well. So we do have an epidemic that is going across our great nation. Secondhand smoke exposure contributes to approximately 41,000 deaths among non-smoking adults and 400 deaths in infants each year. Secondhand smoke causes stroke, lung cancer, and coronary heart disease in adults. Children who are exposed to secondhand smoke are at an increased risk for sudden infant death syndrome, acute respiratory infections, middle ear disease, more severe asthma, respiratory systems, and slowed lung growth. Third-hand smoke is chemicals in e-cigarette vapor aerosols that remain on surfaces and in dust, even after the vapor and aerosol are gone, and react with other chemicals in the environment to form toxic chemicals that are re-released into the environment. The potentially harmful chemicals can be exposed to other people or animals through the respiratory system, through ingestion, through skin exposure. Small children are especially at risk because they normally like to put things in their mouth. As you can see in this slide that we have up here on the screen, there's a mother and a young child that are hanging out in their living room, and there are a lot of fabrics that are around there. There's stuffed animals, things like that. If she was sitting there smoking or taking hits off of her e-cigarette or her vaping tool or device, that infant would be at risk of that third-hand smoke because that's going to be in those soft fabrics for quite a while. So it's important to make sure that you're not making you or your family members vulnerable. Smoking in your lungs. As you can see, there's a picture of a healthy lung, and then there's a smoke-damaged lung. This is what happens after you start smoking those cigarettes. Our next slide is a popcorn lung, and this is an actual x-ray of what a lung looks like after using some sort of a vaping device. This is a popcorn lung, and it is on the rise with all of the chemicals and different items that are being ingested and put into our bodies. Diacetyl and closely related compounds cause popcorn lung, also known as bronchiolitis obliterans. This irreversible respiratory disease was named after the factory workers who inhaled artificial butter flavor while working, causing the small airways in the lungs to become irreversibly scarred and constricted, impairing breathing. Diacetyl has been found in many e-liquids with sweet flavors. Smokeless tobacco comes in sweet and fruity flavors, which appeals to kids and in different forms. There are orbs, sticks, strips, snuff, and small bags and cans. It is absorbed through the mouth, contains nicotine, and causes addiction. This can also cause gum disease, yellowing of teeth, mouth, throat, and pancreatic cancer. As you can see, the gentleman here in the picture had part of his jaw removed because of a mouth cancer or a bone cancer because he used snuff while he was playing baseball and different things like that. And as you can see, there are some pictures of teeth underneath the gentleman, and that's what happens when you have those tobacco products, and that's what causes tooth decay. Smoking is the leading cause of preventable disease, disability, and death in the United States. I'm going to go ahead and say that one more time. Smoking is the leading cause of preventable disease, disability, and death in the United States. Tobacco 21. Today's teenager is tomorrow's potential regular customer, and the overwhelming majority of smokers first begin to smoke while still in their teens. If a person has never smoked by the age of 18, the odds are 3 to 1 they will never try. By age 24, the odds are 20 to 1. Since this presentation has been compiled, there are several other statistics that are going on. As you can see, there's deaths from smoking across the United States and across Kansas. In the past few months, there's been several reports of vaping causing major lung issues in our youth, and they're being hospitalized and on ventilators trying to get healthy, all because they've reported that they just recently started vaping. And so this is an epidemic that's reaching out across the United States. And within the last few months, we have had 2 vaping-related deaths in the state of Kansas. So what I would encourage you to not be a statistic.